Hi everyone, today I'm going to be my own photographer here. Let's see. So today we're going to be making fondant flowers. I'll show you a picture here. And this is Craving Homegrown Adventures. So this is one of my little projects here. So here is, it's not completed, but here's just the start of it. This is 3 layers here. We've got my 2 of the peach and 1 of the light pink. And then I've got this one also. This one's just 2 layers. And these are the sizes that I'm using, the large and the small. And as you can see, these are very shallow here. And so your flower will be more open. And these ones, they're the same size as this, but because this is more deep, the flower looks more closed. So we're going to do a little bit of both on my daughter's birthday cake. So let's start out with this peach color here. I've already dyed this morning after I made the fondant, and that was my other video, making the fondant. So I'm just rolling it, so it doesn't have any air bubbles inside of it or anything like that. I've got my powdered sugar and my cornstarch here, and it's a little bit of a mixture. It's got more powdered sugar than anything else. Put some on the top and bottom so it doesn't get sticky. Let me move these flowers out of the way. And I've got my pink rings on here, so it's thinner than it is with purple rings. We can get a couple out of this one here. So we've got our large flower, and these cutters here, they make several different types of flowers, and so you really get your money's worth. And you'll see what kind I'm going to make here, the different variation. So this can be reused. Just push it together and put it back with the rest of your fondant. You can save this for the same project or another project. It keeps for quite a while. Alright, so now I'm going to get my little foam here. And I have this tool, and this tool rounds the edges here. It thins it out. Don't push too hard, but don't push too soft. Right in between. Okay. And now we have our sponge. This is just cornstarch in here. And so I'm just rounding my petals, giving them some shape. That one's sticking a little. I need more of my cornstarch here. And if there's any extra cornstarch left on your petals, you can just brush it off with a dry paintbrush. I just get the cheap paintbrushes, and it's perfect for projects like this. So you want to push your center also. And while you're pushing your center, for this particular flower, you don't have to do it if you don't like it, but I like this look, and so I'm going to pinch each petal. It gives it more definition. Okay? And if you want to play with it a little bit more, do more to it, you can. So I've already got these ones started here. I've got a pink one and a white one here. I'm going to put a smaller one in there. So let's put it in this. This is the one that's more shallow right here because I want a more open flower. So I'm going to brush out all this cornstarch. Okay. All right. Let's do another one, a small one. Oh, and this, by the way, has a flap here. And you can keep your extra fondant in there. That helps keep it moist so it doesn't dry out and crack. I'm working kind of fast here right now, so it that one there that I just put in, it didn't even have time to dry out. It's a pretty moist day here. It's raining too. And that being said, here this is marshmallow fondant and it's not too sticky or anything. And like I had mentioned in my other video, this is really a fail-proof recipe. And also a fail-proof recipe for being sticky too. It's just great. I don't get that stickiness with it. So again, I'm defining my petals. And this kind of brings your petals up too. So again, right in the center, pinch your tips. And that just gives it such a great little teardrop shape too. Okay. So to glue this together, you just take a little bit of your fondant, about a size of a pea, and then you put it in a teaspoon of water. You take your brush and you dip it in that. You're going to put it in the center here, and that will be your glue. So offset this so that it's not stacked the same way. You want a two-dimensional look to it here, or even three-dimensional if you want to add more petals. And okay, so I'm going to when I'm finished with this, I'm going to take, like I said before, I'm going to have my frosting. I'm going to put just a tiny bit in the center here, just enough. I'll show you this completed one for my pearl to stick down. And then you can use toothpicks, whatever small tool that you have, or even how I'm using this little brush here to put my pearls in, because these things are so tiny and they get everywhere. It's like one of those games that you play when you're a kid with the little metal beads. Okay. So what I wanted to show you guys is the technique with, I'll show you right here. Let me move this out of the way. So I have all my different powders here. I've got my dark green right here. I've got my lime green. And then I have some yellow here. And so this actually softens the flower. It makes it look more realistic. So this green is really dark, so you don't need very much. So the first thing I'm going to put on my brush is the light green, which is the lime. And then I'm going to barely tap here into my dark green. And I'm going to start from the center. Let's see if I can position this right. Start from the center and work my way out. Again, I'm going to do the same thing. You're going to keep loading your brush with this powder. If you want it a little darker, you can do a little darker. If you want it a little lighter and you're thinking, oh no, I went too dark, don't rub it in. Just gently blow it off before it can set in there. But this really softens the look. And also, if you got a little bit too much green in there, you can always add a little bit of that yellow over the top of it. That will soften the darker green. Can you see the difference there? Okay. And I'm going to do that not just on the pink, but I'm going to do that just a little bit on this peach too. The camera, I'm sure, just does not do this justice. And then because this is my little girl's party, and I'm sure us big girls would like it too, because I love it, is I'm going to brush the tips with some gold. And so that's going to give it a little bit of shimmer in the light for the party. It's very popular for the brides also to have that. So you always want to have your wet brush, and that would be for your glue. And then you want to have your dry brush. And the dry brush can be for this. And if you're going to use your dry brush for this and for, you know, brushing off that extra cornstarch, you're going to want a second dry brush, because you don't want to get that green on things that you don't want it on. So I'm just getting this a little bit more. You know, you just do it as you like it. Each person has different style of what they're looking for, but I like mine like this. And so now I'll just brush the gold on, and boy, I sure hope that the camera can pick up some of the shimmer on this gold. It's just beautiful, and my daughter will be excited when she sees this. The kids actually stepped out for a minute with their daddy. It's the first break I've got from kids all day, and it's about 6 o'clock in the evening right now. And I started the fondant this morning around 9. And here we are, finally getting this done. Oh, that petal just went in, and it actually makes it look more real that way. And then if I brush it with a little bit of the green like that, you can really see how it's flipped over. So, and if you would like to do some of the underside also, you can do some of the underside also, which is quite nice in this. A little bit of the green. And by now my brush, you know, still has gold on it, since I'm using the same brush. So if you want to keep your gold in just certain areas, then just use a different brush. So you can have several brushes. And these brushes I keep in my my baking drawer, and so they're not used for all my painting projects. And as soon as I'm finished using this paintbrush today, I'll be washing it with soap and water. All of these things, the sponges and the foam, will all be washed. It's very easy for the stuff that you have in your drawers to get moldy. I've never experienced that, but I have had people that I know who have experienced that, and not fun to have all your tools getting moldy. Some of these tools are quite expensive. All right, so that's this one here. And the white one, we can do the same thing with. And of course that green is going to show up quite nicely on the white, and so you have to be very careful not to do too much on this white. This white flower looks very fake, so when you add that green and yellow to it, it's going to bring it to life. I just love doing flowers. I like them better than doing all the baking of the cake and the frosting and all that. Can you see? That looks much better. So once I fix this, these pearls, that'll look a lot better too. It won't be sliding around like you see right now. When you got little ones running around, you do these projects a little bit at a time. These flowers are great because you can do these weeks ahead of time, even months ahead of time before your party. So my daughter's birthday is next week, and so I'm getting all the flowers done this week. And that way I can just focus on the food and baking a fresh cake for the party. And there we go. And this one would be great with some gold on it too. I ran out of my gold, so I'm going to do a little bit more. It is a great idea if you have different colors to just put it on a little piece of plastic like this, because you don't want to mix your colors inside these tubes. Now, if you're just using gold, you know, feel free to just dip it in there. I do that all the time. But because I've got so many colors going on here, I'm really staying away from doing that. So on this one here, I'm just going to brush just the tips here with gold. I only want the tips to sparkle. On the other one, I did a little bit more than the tips in the gold. These flowers do take a lot of time, but they are quite easy. So if you have a little bit of extra time, it's so worth it. And it feels so good to, you know, accomplish this. That's why my name is Craving. Craving Homegrown Adventures, because I really do crave this kind of stuff. I always want to learn something new, and I have to say I crave it just as much as I do chocolate. Okay, so here's our white one. Let me see if I can, okay. And here is our pink and peach one here. And if you don't like that much green, then you can add a little bit more of the yellow, and that will help take away. And if you do that, I suggest you use a different brush. Don't use the same. If you want to get some of the green to go away, don't use the brush that you put on with the green. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Now I'm talking to y'all like I do my kids. Does that make sense? Anyways, so I hope you guys subscribe, and it would be amazing if you could see the rest of this cake come together. I'm going to be making the top layer or top tier of the cake a pale blue. So it's going to be pale blue, white, and peach, although it does have a little bit of pink here. And that will be the next video. So if you like this video, put in a like, and just know that if you're craving homegrown adventures, then you can join my journey too. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Tabitha, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.